wanted. At some point, I wanted to ask him, okay, let's adapt Amapiano, let's adapt Afrobeat. Do you have an example to show us of a country that did this and their music blew up? Now we want to transition to, want to go back to last week where we had what I would say was a very historical interview, and I don't want to, like over exaggerate it.
Toot your own horn.
But I think it's a historical interview in the sense, not even the way the interview was conducted, but just the content that came out of it. The content that we had planned and the unexpected content that we got, from DJ Sunny Sistuki. A lot of controversy, a lot of agreements and disagreements regarding the direction for the Kenyan music industry. I mean, some of the things we talked about, we of course talked about his background in Eldoret and where he started DJing. We also talked about his experience being an Indian in Kenya, which I also found very interesting, and the fact that when it comes to intermarriage, he said he has no spectacular answer to explain, why it's very normal to him. And then more controversially, Sunny Sistuki said that Kenya music will not get a higher recognition unless it embraces a global sound. And he was saying, he was agreeing with DJ Shinsky in that Kenya should adapt Amapiano and Afrobeat. But a good caveat he said that we should not stop doing genge, we should not stop doing gengeton, but he was of the idea if we adapt these global sounds, let's say like Major does an Amapiano song, that song might attract someone, and then once they get attracted to that song from Major, they'll start listening to other genge songs from Major. So that was DJ Sunny Sistuki. And then he also talked about the importance of education for our kids. Like whether your kid is talented, don't downplay the aspect of formal education. We talked about the Club COVID experience. And then we also talked about how promoters gauge an artist's worth. So it was quite a wide-ranging discussion. I'm going to start with you, Omosh Fire, because you've been in this music industry for a long time. Just give us your thoughts. Maybe talk to us about aspects that you agreed with Sistuki, maybe where you disagreed with him on the way forward, especially for Kenya music. DJ Omosh Fire, the mic is yours.
So I want to thank Sunny for coming through. Like I said last week, and I even said earlier during the show, when we're doing our intros. And so on that whole topic about Amapiano, I'm very pro play Kenya, for Kenya, by Kenya. It's all about Kenya. And I take a hard line and I have a hard stance. And my hardless stance is based upon what I see people from other places doing with their music, the support they have for their music, and then as well as their lack of embracing our music, or maybe even music that is not theirs. And by that, I normally look at West Africa, right? Now, South Africa is an interesting animal where we've always had this love relationship with South Africa. I've never ever heard Kenyans come out and say we don't like South African music. And this is going back to the days of Kwaito, or before they even called it formally Kwaito. It was just South African music. When we used to listen to Peacock. My name is Peacock.
From Yvonne Chaka Chaka.
At those days, those days of, yes, you're right. Kina Yvonne, I'm in love with a DJ, then of course then we came to Kina Brenda Fassie, and kept working our way up, right? Dube. And along the way, you have these what are they called? Those choirs.
TKZ. No.
The Mahut something, whatever. We had all those people, and then
TKZ, Mafikizolo.
Yeah, but yes, and all of those, I guess you'd term or throw under the Kwaito bus, so to speak, right? And Mafikizolo, maybe you'd even say they crossed over from the Kwaito into something else. I don't even know what you would call it. They're just so unique in terms of the sound that they come out with. So when we go into saying that if we come out with more Amapiano music, or a Kenyan musician does an Amapiano rendition, then somebody who is an Amapiano fan or Amapiano fans would then turn around and listen to this and say, oh wow, this guy's actually good. Let me go listen to what he actually plays. I see where Sun is coming from, but I don't go for it. My thing about it is that if our stuff is our stuff, kama Nigenga, Manigengeton, or it's Kapuka, or it's whatever it is that we have, or it's Ohangla, we stick with that animal, and we just now have to infiltrate those markets, and we have to market ourselves there. There's, to me, that's if we're saying I want to change a guy or I want to hit the South African market, then you have to take your music and literally walk your music in. Nigerians are good at doing this. And when I say Nigerians, I really mean Nigerians. I don't say West Africans, I mean Nigerians. They will actually walk in, hold their music in their hands, and in the other hand, maybe they have like 10K. But they'll walk in and that music is going to be played. And enough times of that music getting played, then people start picking it up. Because how else were we picking up some of that music?
Now,
you know?
Now, before you get to Mika on this, Pablo is asking why we call this show historical. Historical is just because of the content that was being discussed, which is a subject of banter now amongst a lot of musician groups, artist groups. They're talking about that interview. So that means, there was some...
It's also historical because it was Sunny's first time here.
Yes, it was Sunny's first time here.
Let us get that straight.
Now, the thing that concerned me with what Sunny was saying...
Yes.
And of course, I respect Sunny as a DJ. He's been out there. He knows what's selling. He knows what's not selling. But the thing that concerned me a bit about what he said, and I wish there were so many questions that we had. We did not have a chance to ask him all the questions we wanted. At some point, I wanted to ask him, okay, let's adapt Amapiano. Let's adapt Afrobeat. Do you have an example to show us of a country that did this and their music blew up as a result of doing this? I personally don't know. Maybe there's one out there. I personally don't know. Tanzania, there's some people who might mention Tanzania because Tanzania has adopted that Amapiano sound. But my question is, has Tanzanian music grown outside of East Africa based on them adopting Amapiano music? Are we having, Diamond, selling out shows in South Africa? Are we having Diamond selling out shows in other parts of the world because of Amapiano music? I for one, haven't seen that. So they were already big in East Africa. They're already big in Tanzania. They're already big in Kenya and other East African countries. And they're still big there. Outside of East Africa, I think the Tanzanians are facing similar challenges that
the Kenyans are.
That the Kenyans are.
And other,
Yeah, and here's
other
another thing.
East Africans.
Yeah, here's another thing I'm going to say that maybe people are not going to take this kindly, but especially here in the US, when Tanzanian artists are performing, if Kenyans don't show up, that hall may be, if it was supposed to be like a 200 people event, it may end up being maybe 50 or 40, because a lot of Tanzanian, events, you go to Tanzanian artists, actually most of the people in there you find are Kenyans. So Tanzania is also.
So are you saying any other place other than Ohio?
No, I'm saying and I've never attended a Tanzanian show in Ohio. Maybe maybe that might be. I know there's a lot of them there, so that might be different. But what I'm saying is that the Tanzanian artists, despite their footprint on social media,
Correct.
They're having the same challenges, across the
Yes.
world, because you're not hearing Diamond selling out shows in Lagos.
No.
He's
And
attending.
neither is he opening for anybody who's a big boy.
Yes, and he's attending, he's performing in a lot of countries, but some of these spaces where he's shown big crowds, it's mostly festivals where there are so many other artists who are also within that festival. So I think, that sometimes makes people think that, this crowd actually came out here specifically for him. But it's usually, because I've seen some in places like Sierra Leone, I think I've seen in the Gambia. It's festivals where you have a lot of other artists, So and they've done an amazing job. But to me, back to what Sistuki was saying, I'm not disputing that thesis, but I just want to know where
You want evidence.
where it has worked. I want evidence of where it has worked.
You're not convinced. It sounds like you're not convinced that selling our souls to eventually
this is
open the gate will help.
I'm
The
honestly
thing
I'm not
is this.
convinced, Mika.
the thing is that the growth of music is a juggernaut that uses many parts, not just one part, right? It starts with the part of music production, the artist and the producer on what they're producing. Then when that music comes out, it goes to the deliverers of the music, the DJs, the radio presenter, the airplays, right? And then from there, it comes to the consumers. Now, then from the consumers is where it blows up. And most of the thing is most consumers of music don't understand the part they play in the selling and the growing of music. The only reason Nigerian music or Afrobeat music blew up is because Nigerians played their music everywhere they went without any shame. They pushed their music, they stuck with their music, and they stayed with it. We are a versatile consumer market that consumes from a young age. You consume a lot of different genres, right? So even if a Kenyan musician jumped on a piano and produced a very good piano song, and then we liked it as Kenyans, if we don't push it out, that Kenyan won't grow. It won't, because there's a lot of piano music out there. So if people don't sell that song out, it's still a Kenyan who jumped on a beat, got a little bit of success with it, but how did you transcend the market? And it's the same thing as what's happening with the Tanzanians, as Ali is saying. Harmonize, Diamond, every day they're dropping piano music. They're still getting the same audience that they usually use. They've not transcended and grown and blown up. Nigerians, on the other hand, have jumped on piano. But as Nigerians usually do, they sell their people, they sell their music, and their music goes out.